This is Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God, and you should support wrestling. That's number one. But also support WrestleTalk. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to listen, make sure to do what I say. And that's because I'm the Spanish God, baby.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for your awesome support on Patreon, Adam and the Anthony Bergeron, Prince Charming. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Mechaling News. I am Luke Owen. Thank you to Swap Nation member Ivan Gattaca, who you can follow on Instagram, for recording Spanish God Sammy Guevara telling you to support WrestleTalk. So close. You can also support WrestleTalk by giving us a subscribe, pressing the thumbs up button, and leaving a comment down below. And Sammy's father figure Chris Jericho was on Keeping It 100 this week, where he had some harsh words to say about All Elite Wrestling's tag team matches and one team in particular. Ever since the very first episode of Dynamite, where Kenny Omega was taken out of a 6-man tag due to Jon Moxley interference that somehow didn't result in a DQ, there has been a lot of criticism leveled against AEW and its lack of rules. Just this week's episode saw Joey Janela attack Shawn Spears on the ramp during his tag match against Omega and Hangman Page, but that wasn't a DQ either. However, for Jericho, his biggest complaint was about the lack of tags and in-ring psychology, highlighting the Lucha Brothers of Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. as the biggest culprits. He told Keeping It 100, "I called a team meeting. The lack of tags and normal tag team wrestling psychology drove me nuts. To be the point where that was one of the big knocks against our company in about week 3 or 4. It's sort of making excuses for the Lucha Brothers because tagging in and out. They're lazy, they don't care. They walk in and out whenever they want, and it's not right. They would make excuses where they would say, oh, it's Lucha Libre style. Huh, that's funny. I worked in Mexico for 2 years. And guess how you make a tag in a Lucha Libre match? You stand in the corner, and you wait for a guy to touch you, and you walk in. That's Lucha Libre rules, aka tag team rules. He continued, I called a meeting with the whole crew and said, you're burying the ref. If you don't have any rules, you don't get any heat. And it's killing our show because our honeymoon period is over. And now people are watching us and they're being confused by our lack of rules. Now, being the world champion of the promotion, Jericho was quick to praise the work ethic of both Phoenix and Pentagon and suggested that maybe they just hadn't been made aware of these rules. He said on the podcast, once we had a couple of talks with them, guess what they started doing? They started tagging. Maybe it was a habit or maybe nobody told them. You have a whole locker room of guys that have just worked indies their whole career and they don't know little things. I told guys, change your gear looks Bush League, and they come back with new gear. Once we told the guys to concentrate more on tagging in and out, they've been doing it. Everyone is working together about what we're looking for in the company. Perhaps AEW's latest signees will take on this advice, as Dave Meltzer is reporting via the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Alex Reynolds and John Silver have signed deals with the company. Known as the Beaver Boys on the independent scene, Reynolds and Silver lost to Proud and Powerful on episode 3 of Dynamite, lost to Best Friends on an episode of Dark, and John Moxley beat Reynolds in about 14 seconds on this week's episode, which has now set them on a potential path to join the Dark Order. But how did all of this affect the ratings war? After picking up the win last week, following the fallout of NXT's involvement in Survivor Series, AEW couldn't make it 2 weeks in a row against the Black and Gold brand. However, it wasn't a win for Triple H either, as both shows pulled in the exact same rating of 778,000 viewers. AEW can, however, once again claim the coveted 18 to 49 demographic, winning the night with .28 against NXT's .24. However, it's not all good news, as that .28 for Dynamite is down 17% from last week. Business, business, business. For me, one of the most interesting things about the ratings this week, though, is how AEW actually took most of the night, winning the first 6 quarters head-to-head, often in dominating fashion, but really lost out in the main event, where NXT overwhelmingly won with 756,000 viewers for the triple threat between Keith Lee, Finn Balor, and Tommaso Ciampa against AEW street fights between the Young Bucks and Proud and Powerful, which drew 685,000. The NXT overrun only grew to 881,000, which is lower than usual, which suggests that Dynamite viewers switched over early to watch all of the NXT main events. Speaking of the AEW versus WWE war, and one of the really early casualties was Seth Rollins, who earned his not cool moniker by doing interviews saying that Jon Moxley left WWE because he couldn't hack the rigorous schedule and that he was stealing food off the table. And while in London for a Gorilla Position live show, Rollins addressed his comments about Moxley, telling the crowd there was never any beef with him or him leaving at all, at no point. I think some of the comments I made were misconstrued. I never had a problem with him leaving or anything like that. I thought some of the stuff he said on the Jericho podcast was a little unnecessary. I thought it was one of those things where he couldn't handle the pressure. It's not for everybody at that point, and that's all I was commenting on. I was commenting on him leaving, not like, oh, you betrayed us and left. Absolutely not. I sent him a text on his birthday, which was a few days ago. I wished him well. I hope that he's good. He seems to be doing great at AEW in New Japan, so I wish nothing but the best for him and his lovely wife. My cousin actually went to that Gorilla Position live show and said that it was really, really great, but did text me afterwards to say that Seth Rollins really isn't cool. At one point claiming that WWE do have long-term story plans, but they change all the time because of fan reaction and not Vince McMahon, who isn't to blame for any of the problems in WWE. Seth Rollins really isn't cool. My cousin also said that he has zero chemistry with Becky Lynch, and going by the Extreme Rules build earlier this year, that sounds about right. Something that was far more successful, creatively speaking, for WWE this year was the involvement of NXT in Survivor Series. The multiple shows of angles and NXT picking up the win on the night overall has seen a big jump in viewers for the black and gold brand on the USA Network. And according to WrestleVotes on Twitter, it won't just be Survivor Series that will see NXT appearances. The very reliable Scooperstars tweeted, heard from a well-placed source as of now, NXT will have a role at WrestleMania. Not talking about TakeOver, but on the actual Mania card. No details as to who or what, but an NXT presence will be felt. And according to another report, it's not just Mania that's going to have NXT guys and girls. According to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio, we could see more NXT involvement in this year's Royal Rumble than we have previously. Alvarez reports that the current plan being discussed would be to have 10 wrestlers from Raw, 10 from SmackDown, and 10 from NXT to make up all 30 entrants. This would be different from other years, where NXT wrestlers have been broadly cameos, with last year's Rumble featuring 6 NXT stars in the women's match and 3 in the men's. And if this report is correct, it means we won't have any legend surprises in either Rumble next year. And WWE will have plenty of NXT guys and girls to choose from too, as the night before we'll see NXT take on NXT UK in Worlds Collide, which means both rosters will be available for the Rumbles. But if you had to pick 10 men and 10 women from the NXT and NXT UK rosters to be in the Rumbles, who would you pick? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'll be replying to them for the first 30 minutes of this video going live from my desk where I work. And according to a new report, we might now know who the winners of the 2020 Royal Rumbles are going to be. The latest odds for the Rumble have Roman Reigns leading the way as the winner of the men's match, which has been the reported plan for some time, likely leading to him being the first man to pin The Fiend and capture the Blue Universal Championship at WrestleMania, which I'm sure will go down really well on social media the following day. Other potential favorites include Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and CM Punk, but that last one might just be Ollie Davis placing so many bets that it skewed all the data. On the women's Rumble side of things, it's very interesting, with Shayna Baszler as the current second favorite to win, followed by Kairi Sane, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley. Baszler picked up the win at Survivor Series when she tapped out SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, but it was made very clear that her feud with Becky Lynch was not over when the man put her through a table at the end of the show. And it has been reported that Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler is being discussed as a major program for next year. The odds-on favorite to win the Royal Rumble currently, however, is a returning Ronda Rousey, who we've not seen or heard from since she lost the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer reported back in January that Rousey was set to take time off from WWE following WrestleMania to start a family, which was since confirmed. But before we all jump on the train and roll straight into speculation station, Ronda Rousey recently said while promoting the final episode of Total Divas, "I think I need to figure out a different way of doing it. To be able to not have to choose career over family or family over career and kind of find the happy medium. Right now, I think my family needs my undivided attention. information. I'm happy to give them that. But I'm trying to figure out a way or a system or somehow that I could give both my family and WWE the best of me and not be half-ass in both. And now, as an extra special treat for you lovely SWAF Nation members, here's the slightly later than advertised wrestle sketch from Ollie Davis and Vinny Shui. Enjoy!
Vince, we need to talk about WWE Backstage. I know! Morale's through the roof! No, not the literal backstage. I mean the Fox show, WWE Backstage. We got a show called Backstage? Yes. No, we haven't. You're ribbing me again. Like with that NXT thing. NXT is our third brand, Vince. They just won Survivor Series. Trips and Sean with their vintage DX hijinks. Say it, Michael! Vintage DX hijinks. Vintage Cole! Just trust me here. WWE Backstage is a studio show made by Fox. Alicia Fox? Who signed off on that? No, the Fox Television Network. Oh, right, Murdoch's one. Funny story about me and Murdoch. We once got in a lift. And is that it? Look, a new cooking video on my phone! Focus, Vince! WWE Backstage only drew 50,000 viewers on its first episode, so make them start doing cooking stuff. Great for thumbnails. Whatever thumbnails are. No, they brought back CM Punk. Punk, eh? He's working for Fox, but on a show with our name on. You know what, Trips? Never say never. I didn't say never. Here's my thinking. This month he's a special contributor. Months later, he makes a one-off return to the ring. A month after that, he signs a 5-year contract. And I finally get my WrestleMania match? Ha! Vintage Trips joke again. Say it, Cole! Vintage Trips. Get our writers ready for 2020's most hilarious gimmick, CM Cook! You can't be serious. As serious as those Saudi mechanical issues, right, Trips? Wink, wink. Did you just say wink, wink? Those were actually mechanical issues. Revenge is a dish best served, Cuck, Trips. And I've already got his first feud. Get in here, Seth. John. I mean, Punk. Oh, my son, what have they done to you? Money talks, Hunter. And me versus Punk at WWE Fastlane has money written all over it. Not WWE Fastlane. Yes, Trips. Yes, Seth. Now say it with me. Cuck it down. Cuck it down. That doesn't even make sense. Cuck it down. Cuck it down. Cuck it down. Cuck it down.
Did a WWE star really jump to AEW? Find out more in the WrestleTalk news, which also has our reviews of NXT and Dynamite. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon pledge hammers, some of which you can see scrolling their way into my stomach. I've been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.